Hello, and thank you for joining us at Brand Finance's first ever ASEAN webinar. In this webinar, you'll learn about the top ASEAN brands revealed in our first ever ASEAN-centric report, brand value and brand strength trends in the region, and brand themes you need to pay attention to, such as sustainability, soft power, and brand guardianship. Before we begin with our program, we are excited to announce that our ASEAN 300 report for 2023 is now available for download. Please scan the QR code to get your free preview copy. We will also flash this QR code towards the end of the webinar for your convenience. Alternatively, you may visit Brand Finance's reports repository at branddirectory.com to get this important report. To get the best experience from our webinar, we invite you to take note of the following details. Please submit your questions through the chat box on this page. Our Brand Finance speakers will be available to address them as best they can. The entire webinar will be available for viewing on Brand Finance's YouTube page after this live stream. Do visit us there to also check out other insights by our experts. Should you run into any technical difficulties while viewing the webinar, please contact us at j.chang@brandfinance.com. And now, sit back as we commence with the first segment of our webinar.
Hello and welcome. I'm Alex Haig, Managing Director of Brand Finance Asia Pacific. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to present to you the top 300 most valuable ASEAN brands report, the only comprehensive study of brand perceptions, strength and value of brands in the region. While this is the first year of the aggregated report, we've been publishing brand valuations of regional brands since 2007, and we've had offices in the region since 2000. Throughout that time, we've been lucky enough to work with some of the best and most inspiring brands and brand teams from across the region, using our data and analysis to help make better strategic decisions, untangle investment discussions, and solve tricky technical valuation and commercialization issues. In this event, we'll be hearing from a great group of experts, from management positions within the brands we're covering, to external experts and experts from within Brand Finance. We hope you find the content interesting and useful for your own work. If so, myself and the team are always available to discuss in more detail where required. So, to start off with today, I'll be explaining what brand strength and value is, how it works, where we get the data from, and what you can use it for. Following this, Ben Webb and Yen-Fen Lai, who work with me in our APAC team in insights and valuation respectively, will walk us through some of the key trends we see in the valuations and brand strength analysis, and what brand teams can take from the results. When we talk about the building blocks of brand value, we often talk about it as a chain. You make an action which results in stakeholders holding a better opinion of you, which should, if combined with an effective company and a growing market, itself lead to higher brand value. Ultimately, the strength and value of a brand comes from a well-known reputation for offering good products and services consistently. But as marketing teams, ensuring that the business's strengths deliver the reputation that's deserved, good brand governance combined with appropriate marketing investment is key for delivering a strong brand. That, combined with the business's financial outlook and size, lead to brand value. Now, brand strength is a key input to brand valuation calculations. It refers to the cumulative familiarity, reputation and appeal that the brand commands among stakeholders. This should allow brands to sell more at higher prices and in some cases increase loyalty and increase the efficiency of marketing. And as I mentioned, we like to consider building brand value and strength as a chain. Inputs lead to perceptions, which lead to behaviours, which then allow you to invest more in actions which can improve perceptions. This means that when we analyse brand strength, we consider perceptions, which includes familiarity as an amplifier of perceptions, but also behaviours in the form of usage and willingness to pay a price premium. We also analyse diagnostically why brand perceptions are as they are in order to give feedback on what to focus on and to improve. These data points, which are collected from our global market research study, are placed in a scorecard and benchmarked against competitor brands to deliver a score out of 100. The market research we complete in order to analyse brand strength is conducted across over 30 sectors in 40 countries and covers over 6,000 unique brands. The total number of respondents is over 150,000, and in Asia Pacific we cover 12 countries, with China including research both on the mainland and in Taiwan. We cover the core brand funnel measures along with overall reputation, questions about sustainability, likability and other KPIs. Additionally, we research diagnostic attributes that help to explain overarching brand perception indicators. Important to note is that we also have tiered research. In markets where we have none or a smaller number of subscribers, we restrict the research to a summarised version, covering just the most important summary metrics. We call these Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets for B2B sectors. Here, we focus on some key brand metrics. These core metrics can be very useful for summarising the main fundamentals of strong brands. We do this by focusing on three core areas. Firstly, familiarity, which is an amplifier and multiplier of perceptions and is usually highly affected by marketing activities. Then, assurance, which refers to brands meeting the needs of customers consistently and effectively. And finally, appeal, which refers to the emotional connection that drives interest and cross-sell and that only the best brands can command. Brand value is a monetary concept. It refers to the current capital value of the earnings that a business derives directly as a result of using the specific brand on their business rather than a generic alternative. These earnings are owned by an organisation through the control of trademark rights. To compare the concepts, brand strength is non-monetary and delivers a score out of 100. Brand value is monetary and delivers a financial figure in the currency of your choice. Brand strength indicates the power of a brand at the point of purchase. Brand value combines this power with the size of the business to which the brand is being applied. For brand strength, staying steady is a victory. Anything above that is a great result. For brand value, the key is to grow faster than competitors. Brand strength is used for tracking and clear comparative metrics. Brand value is used for return on investment analysis, marketing investment management, and tracking as an additional component of brand health and strength evaluations. As I mentioned, a key use of brand valuation is to understand the return from different actions, whether it's a new brand architecture or a change in marketing activities or investment. By analysing the likely impact on brand strength and other assumptions, you can start to understand what the potential value increases or decreases you can expect are from specific decisions. Or you can start to understand what the impact of actions or activities has been in the past. My colleagues Ben and Yen Fen will now explain what some of those changes have been.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, my name is Ben Webb and I'm the Head of Insights for Brand Finance in Asia Pacific, based in Kuala Lumpur.
And I'm Yen Fen, and I will kick off our presentation with an overview of which industry and country contribute most to the ASEAN Top 300 brands. Afterward, Ben will take you through the detail of the top 25 most valuable and strongest ASEAN brands, offering insights into what makes this brand exceptional. The aggregate value of the top 300 ASEAN brands in 2023 stand at 245 billion. This may appear modest in comparison with large economies such as the China 300 and USA 300. However, the collective value of the top 100 brands in ASEAN is comparable to that in the Middle East and India, and is substantially higher than the top 100 brand in Australia. 4 key sectors contribute over 2/3 of the total ASEAN 300 brand value. The financial service sector, which includes both banking and insurance brands, account for 1/3 of the total value. It has seen a consistent uplift across ASEAN nations, driven by a mix of interest rate hike, widening net interest margin, and economic growth as we continue to recover from the pandemic. Improvement in digital and mobile banking service have also contributed to the sector's positive performance. The telco sector is the second largest contributor to the overall brand value. The leading ASEAN brands have steered the digital revolution in their home market, bringing huge benefit to their customers. Looking forward, many will become increasingly important players on the global stage. Oil and gas contributed 11% of the ASEAN 300 brand value. It's primarily driven by 3 brands: Petronas in Malaysia, PTT in Thailand, and Pertamina in Indonesia. The food and beverage sector, in aggregate, contribute 8% of the total ASEAN 300 brand value and has been gaining significant domestic value regionally and globally. If you look at how the value mix by industry sector compare against comparable regions, all have their own unique composition that reflect their economic history, natural resources, and human capital. But financial service consistently emerge as one of the leading sectors. The breakdown of total brand value by country demonstrates the depth of the successful brand right across the major ASEAN economy. Singapore at present generates the highest contribution to total value at 23%, but the remaining ASEAN nations follow closely behind. A comparison of brand value against GDP shows that Singapore makes an outsized contribution to total brand value relative to the size of its economy. This is a ringing endorsement of Singapore's successful cultivation of strong, productive, and globally recognized brands. Looking into the brand value distribution of the ASEAN 300, close to half is generated by top 25 brands, followed by 35% of value generated by the brand ranked between 26 to 100. My colleague Ben will take it from here to dive deeper into the detail of top 25 brands, understanding their value and strength.
Thanks, Yen-Fen. So let's begin by looking at the 25 most valuable brands in ASEAN. If we start at the top, Petronas is the most valuable brand, with a $12.7 billion valuation. This reflects a combination of very strong brand equity and very large financial size. And then, as Yen-Fen highlighted, we have a high concentration of banks amongst the most valuable brands, led by the big 3 Singaporean banks, DBS, UOB, and OCBC. We can also see a high incidence of telecom brands, with Vietnam's Viettel valued at almost $9 billion, and representation of telco brands from across Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and Philippines. Singtel's 8th place position is remarkable given a comparatively small domestic customer base. Beyond these 3 sectors, some other notable brands make their mark. Genting, a Malaysian brand that is best known for leisure and tourism, which offers an array of attractions including resorts, casinos, cruises, and theme parks. And Vinamilk, the leading dairy manufacturer in Vietnam, with farms that produce more than 1 million litres of raw milk per day. In addition to serving the nutritional needs of the home population, Vinamilk exports to 58 countries across Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and beyond. We also find 3 Indonesian tobacco brands in the top 25, Sampurna, Gudang Garam, and A Mild. This underscores the enduring popularity and significance of tobacco products within the Indonesian brand landscape. And last but not least, we have Ruang Khao, Thailand's best-selling white spirit brand, which secures the 25th spot. Ruang Khao holds deep cultural significance in Thailand, often being an integral part of celebrations and special occasions. As Alex explained earlier, brand value is a function of brand strength and financial size. Not all brands can have the financial heft of Petronas or DBS, and so it's important to also consider brand strength. So this slide highlights the 25 strongest brands in ASEAN. We can see that many of the same brands appear as in the valuation, so it's perhaps most interesting to highlight some that we have not already talked about. Brands which are very well regarded, but whose revenue and profitability may not elevate them to the very top tier of brand value. So firstly, the Indonesian bank BCA stands out as the strongest ASEAN brand, with a very impressive score of 92.9, earning it a AAA plus rating. BCA has won many banking awards, and its success is driven by a customer-first philosophy delivered through an excellent personal service and digital innovation. Then we have Centara Grand, the renowned Thai hotel brand, which consistently scores 9 out of 10 or above across key brand equity metrics of familiarity, consideration, recommendation, reputation, and value for money in our global brand equity research. Other brands that excel on the strength dimension include Vietcombank and MB Bank in Vietnam, and Globe and BDO in the Philippines. As with many well-loved brands, Globe has a clear mission which goes beyond customers to encompass community and the nation. The Globe mission statement is, "We create wonderful experiences for people to have choices, overcome challenges, and discover new ways to enjoy life." So, what makes these brands so strong? As Alex highlighted, brand strength is a function of familiarity, insurance, and emotional appeal. That all of the top 25 brands excel across all three dimensions. It is not that the strongest brands do one or two things particularly well, it's that they all do everything even better than others. And the very strongest brands go beyond these three prerequisites. This might be through a clear customer focus, like BCA's customer first philosophy, or a slightly different take from DBS with its live more, bank less brand promise. Or like Globe, through an inspiring ambition to uplift the lives of Filipinos, or by making demonstrable positive contributions to society, like Petronas, which contributes 20% to the Malaysia's GDP, and which strives to support local communities wherever in the world it operates. So I will end with a summary chart plotting brand strength versus brand value. The first thing to say is that any brand that appears in this chart is extremely successful. But the chart does also highlight three leading brands in the top right-hand quadrant, Petronas, DBS and Viettel, with the greatest combination of brand strength and brand value. And then we also have BCA and Vietcombank, which stand out as being exceptionally strong brands. I hope that you found our presentation of the ASEAN brands insightful and informative. As we conclude our part of today's presentation, I would like to emphasize that the significance of these brands is not only in the ASEAN landscape, but also on the global stage. They're testament to the innovation, dedication, and dynamic spirit of the ASEAN region. So thank you from Yen Fen and myself for your attention during our presentation. Please note that our event is far from over. There are more interesting presentations and discussions ahead, providing insights on different aspects of ASEAN brands. We look forward to your continued participation in this exciting event. If you have any questions or require further insights, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Hello everyone, my name is Rika Facundo, Asia Editor at WARC. Thank you so much to Brand Finance for having me. I'm super excited to talk through some trends and insights from the WARC's latest report, a guide on how brands can navigate and leverage the new paradigm shift in culture. But before I dig in, let me tell you a little bit more about WARC. We are the global authority on marketing effectiveness. We provide thought leadership, insights, and case studies to marketers and agencies all around the world. Today, I'm distilling pages of analysis from the experts who contributed to our guide into around 10 minutes. I'll be deep diving into 3 questions. First, what is cultural advantage and why does it matter? Secondly is how is the cultural landscape changing? And lastly, how should we adapt the way we work to this new reality? But first, let's define what exactly is culture. Broadly speaking, culture acts like an invisible hand, a set of norms, artifacts, symbols, rituals, and beliefs that influences how people behave, relate to themselves and the world. And the way we behave changes depending on our context. For example, the way you behave is very different with your friends, your colleagues, and family, and is very different from the way that you may be interacting online. How many of us have tried to figure out what people are saying on TikTok or on Instagram? That's an example of the influence of internet culture. Culture also defines a system that defines a group of people and their shared beliefs. For example, you can also identify as a K-pop fan or a Swiftie, which I'm pretty sure we have some of those in the audience today. As marketers, understanding culture is vital because it is our key to understanding how people derive meaning from their groups and interactions that trigger the deep emotional connections that all great brands are able to do. So cultural advantage is when marketers can build relevant brands that drives growth and improves performance by deeply resonating with consumers. Now, this is more than just a trend-jacking campaign that creates a fleeting viral moment of fame and culture. It's more long-term than that. A study by the marketing arm shows that brands that have cultural resonance can grow 25% more than competitors. Why does all of this matter? There are many reasons why, but I've pinpointed two main ones. The first is that brands that are not culturally nuanced risk reputational damage. The most extreme example of this is in the US, where there is an increasingly polarized environment. Consumers expect brands to take a stance, but more brands are afraid to do so because of fear of audience backlash or being canceled. But most importantly, cultural relevance enables brands to grow by being meaningfully different from competitors. Meaningful difference is a brand's ability to be both relevant and demonstrate superior differentiation. But I'll be real with you, navigating culture today is super intense and very complicated. Not only does culture seem to be accelerating faster and faster than ever, but so much of it spawns and remixes in a lot of different spaces, further convoluting these dynamics. It's hard to get your head around, but let me pinpoint three key things for you to navigate culture with. Firstly is that today it is a multipolar world where the West is no longer the dominant economic and cultural force influencing consumer identities, behaviors, and attitudes. This started with China, but we have countries like India and even Indonesia starting to make a splash on the international stage. Which brings me to my second point. Asia's role on the global landscape is changing. We are no longer importing culture from the West, but are exporting it. There's the obvious influence of the Korean wave, but even things like anime, which used to be a niche subculture, is becoming a lot more mainstream. If we zoom into Indonesia in particular, there's data that shows that 2 of the top 10 titles in Indonesia in 2022 was actually an anime title, which is the Attack on Titan. Lastly, the global diaspora of the once marginalized cultures are asserting and reclaiming their narratives, showing up on the international stage and acknowledging their purchasing power. India's diaspora is bigger and more influential than ever, with Adobe, Britain, and Chanel all run by people with Indian roots. In Australia, they are now a migrant majority country, with 50% of Australians speaking a language other than English at home. The second change I want to talk about is how the Go Local movement is coming of age. It is no longer associated with being cheap or that old attitude of West is best. Now local brands can command a premium, and this pricing power is not just limited to the premium category. For example, instant noodle brand Indomie, which we all love, grew up with, is not something that we traditionally think of as a premium brand, but they can command a price premium because they provide great value and are known for setting the standards in their category. The third change is that consumer identities are becoming a lot more fluid. It's not effective to simply target audiences based on rigid parameters and broad generalizations across race, geography, etc. This is best illustrated in what's happening in Indonesia. This is a country that has been heavily associated with a collectivist mindset, but is now experiencing a shift where people are seeking balance between asserting their individuality and maintaining their connection to the collective. It's clear that global audiences today have become more diverse and hyper-tuned to culture nuances. As a result, brands must develop what one of my contributors called their CQ, or cultural intelligence. It's the next evolution of EQ, or emotional intelligence. So how exactly do we do that? It's important to know that developing cultural intelligence starts from the inside out, meaning that it's imperative for companies to have the right internal culture and setup. We're all familiar with the 4 Ps of marketing, right? Well, one of our contributors developed the 4 Ps of developing cultural intelligence, a combination of hard and soft approaches to developing CQ. This is the foundation for building a strong globalized team, producing standout work through the success of diverse thinking. The first P is policy. Are you setting the right tone and organizational behavior to make people mindful about how we work and play? Simple things like celebrating cultural differences and acknowledging that festivals like Chinese New Year or Hari Raya are just as significant for Asian colleagues as European summer is for the West. The second P is practice, which includes how you might organize talent, hubs, and tools. Examples include acknowledging that different cultures engage in feedback or brainstorming differently. Another nuance is around language. Another expert pointed out that the tendency for a lot of agencies and brands is to go with the person who speaks English, and that is not always the best person for the job. His advice is to make a conscious effort to pair teams with matching capabilities and experience. The third P is provision. Are you providing the right spaces for people of foreign cultures to integrate, such as making space for prayer rooms? And last but not least is imperfection. Culture is not static, it plays a strong part in behavior, but environments are fluid and changing. As organizations deal with increasingly diverse individuals and personalities, creating ways to get feedback and constantly refine the model is super important. Now, I talked a lot today, but if you only remember one thing, is that an ability to maneuver cultural risks, understand nuance, and leverage opportunities is becoming a prerequisite for any brand looking to thrive in this new era. If you're interested in finding out more, please scan the QR code for a copy of the report or email me. Thank you so much for your time.
So what makes a strong brand? A strong brand is one that is recognized and trusted by customers and the rest of the market. But beyond mere recognition, a strong brand evokes a positive and emotional response from its audiences, triggering a reciprocal action, whether it be to acquire its products, subscribe to its services, stay loyal over time, or advocate to others about using the brand. All these actions can contribute to the brand's market share and help its business to steadily grow. Brand strength is like the Holy Grail. Every marketer desires it, and for some, it might come within reach. But it requires wise choices anchored in customer insight, your own brand conviction, and the readiness of your organization to operationalize and strive for it. A strong brand is rooted in a sense of purpose that is translated into a clear customer proposition and powered by a commitment to delivering on the brand promise. First, purpose. This means having the ability to clearly articulate your brand's why in a way that is authentic and galvanizes your entire organization to act as one. Second, proposition. It's critical to understand your customers inside out and articulate your customer proposition, the value that you bring to your customers' lives. What psychological, physiological, or emotional needs do you address? And what response do you want to evoke? And third, delivering on your promise. Being able to operationalize and meet expectations that you create at every touch point throughout the customer journey. It's creating a corporate culture that revolves around the customer and is focused on operationally making your proposition real. At Globe, we are driven by our purpose of uplifting Filipino lives. We strive to do this by delivering elevated everyday experiences to unlock every Filipino's potential. Globe's brand strength is derived from many years of being keenly focused on this purpose, obsessing about our customers and delivering this through authentic interactions, authentic partnerships, and authentic engagement. I can't really claim to have cracked the code, but over the years, I've developed my own sense for inspiring and growing brand love. First, I believe we must listen to our customers. Let them inspire your brand to find its path to growth. Pay attention to what the customers say and do because there are abundant clues. There are signposts that will tell you where to take your brand. But what they don't say, the needs that they can't articulate, can be the opportunity that derives and delivers the most value for the customer and the brand. As an example, in the early 2010s, the Philippine telco market was dominated by local and international voice and SMS services. This is what telcos provided. Thus, it was all customers knew. While the Globe business was healthy, price competition was really fierce, and the company was actively looking for the next big thing to set it apart. Facebook was nowhere near as big as it is today, but Globe saw early on that it could be the killer app of its day for the very sociable Filipino consumers who have always been fond of connecting with family and friends, but who were still perhaps naive to the digital world, and Globe really wanted to be ready for it. And so in 2013, Globe launched a freemium model offering free Facebook to Filipino consumers, giving many of them their first taste of social media, helping them to explore literally a whole new world of fun, knowledge, and entertainment, and much, much more. The campaign line was, "Let's create a wonderful world." At the onset, it was Globe creating that access for Filipinos to try new things online, inviting them into a rich world, a rich digital world of wonderful discoveries and novel experiences. This unfettered access to social media catered to the average Filipino's yearning to escape from the daily grind and to learn more about the world. This first ever access to Facebook through Globe opened people's eyes and made them realize the possibilities that were out there and how much could be created and enjoyed. And from then on, neither Globe nor the Filipinos have looked back. Today, the Philippines is well known as the social media capital of the world, and with good reason. And while Facebook continues to dominate, TikTok is fast on its heels for its edutainment value. Instagram has built its own loyal aesthetic following, and Twitter is the go-to app for many news-hungry Filipinos. And with each new platform that Globe brought to the Filipinos, the customer's ability to create grew by leaps and bounds. Creation became the act of a more sophisticated consumer, and Filipinos came into their own power and began to steer their own digital journey well beyond social media. And Globe was, and still is, there for all of it. Today, we continue to listen to our customers each and every day, on ground. As their interests and passion points evolve, so too do we evolve the content and platforms we deliver. We incorporate phygital experiences, like concerts that can be experienced live and in the metaverse via Globe Virtual Hangouts, gaming tournaments via Globe Gamer Grounds, and by supporting creators through enablement tools and learning platforms. The second principle: build long-term partnerships with those who share your vision and whose strengths complement your own. Globe has always endeavored to build strong and enduring relationships with partners. We realize we cannot do it all on our own. There's a lot that we are not fully equipped to do, and we need strong allies to help us deliver on these fronts, not just once, but over time. And so as we opened up the digital world to Filipino customers, we realized that we needed more rich content to keep our customers happy. We asked ourselves, what would they want to try? Filipinos love entertainment. Karaoke and TV watching are communal activities that have long been a huge part of daily life for families and friends. We didn't have any of that, but we knew that we could find someone who did. And so we began to partner with global entertainment brands like Spotify, Netflix, Disney, and we were the first brand to deliver their world-class content to our tens of millions of customers who were using our telco network. Filipinos embraced digital entertainment with a zeal second only to their love for Facebook, and over time, they began to associate quality content with Globe. This is a great testament to the power of our partner brands and the invaluable contribution that they brought to our brand and to our business. Working with some of the world's most powerful entertainment brands was a tremendous learning experience for all of us. They shared their vision for our customers, they enriched our knowledge base with their best practices, and together, we worked towards metrics that made sense for the brand and the business. Working with them enabled us to deliver transformational value to Filipino mobile users. And bringing customers closer to the things that they treasure, that evoke the very emotions that they yearn to feel: excitement, anticipation, inspiration, acceptance, joy, delight. It's a really powerful way to make your brand relevant, useful, and over time, maybe even loved. Today, we continue to do this by supporting and engaging our customers through new digital platforms, responding to their passion points, and partnering with subcultures and communities, be they K-culture, gaming, creators, metaverse, and even anime. And the third principle: inspire employees with their shared mission of delightful service. Culture in any organization can be one of its greatest assets. And at Globe, we have worked hard to build one that is healthy, collaborative, and empowering. With over 8,000 employees on our team, this has required a clear direction that we can move towards together, and a consistent stream of programs to get us there. We continue to encourage teams to look beyond their own functions and wear an enterprise hat, which gives them a more holistic view of the customer and helps us understand them as living, breathing human beings whom we deeply want to delight. So, for long as our customers continue to change and their needs continue to evolve and grow, we too must rise to meet them at every turn. It is that consistency and steadiness that will enable us to cultivate their trust, love, and to ultimately strengthen our brand in their minds and hearts. We are heartened by some amazing results, but we know that there is so much more to do for Filipinos. So we continue to keep our ear to the ground, we keep on listening to customers, learning from our partners, and leading our teams to deliver that delight. Ultimately, brand strength is a measure of how perceptions of your brand, our brand, influence the people around us to act in our favor. And these are what will drive better performance over time and improve brand value. So, we ask ourselves, do they perceive us to be acting with integrity and truthfulness? If so, they will want to partner with us and grow their business with us. Do they see us walking the talk, embodying the change that we want to see in the organization? If so, then our employees will want to march alongside us and help the brand to thrive. Do they see us as keeping our promises to provide good quality services to every customer, to every Filipino in need? If so, then our customers will want us in their life, in their home, and in their business. At the end of the day, brand strength comes from the people who surround our brand. Their perceptions, actions, and reactions tell us everything that we need to know. So we try to pay attention to all of it, then distill what makes sense for our brand and our business. And so, listen to the customers who recognize your brand, gravitate towards it, habitually use it, and recommend it to others. Their patronage and loyalty are the sign that you are doing something right. Listen to the employees who work hard to bring your brand to life for customers, who design products, compute pricing, create ads, resolve complaints, process payments. Their devotion and hardworking contribution, their feedback will tell you everything. And listen to the partners who choose to work with your brand. Share their practices, learn from their processes, collaborate with their teams and your teams. Their choice to work with you instead of a dozen other brands will be a testament to your brand's reputation. Complex questions invariably require complex answers. They often need to be attacked from multiple angles in order to be answered or even resolved. Building a strong brand is one of those challenges, and it needs salvos from across all fronts. Customers, employees, partners, your customers who trust that you will always be there to serve them. Your employees who believe that they are part of something meaningful and useful to themselves and to others. And your partners who respect what you do and bring their own expertise to the table so that you create something powerfully relevant to the customers that you jointly serve.
Hi everyone, I'm Rudy from AirAsia Brand Co, and I would like to thank Brand Finance for inviting me to speak in today's ASEAN webinar. Today, I will be sharing insights on how AirAsia became the second most valuable airline brand in the region, only behind a player with about a 30-year head start, through our commitment to the region, brand success, and finally, where next for the AirAsia brand. So, AirAsia was built on the simple idea of democratizing air travel for the ASEAN region. Ever since launching in 2001 with only 2 planes and 200 staff, we've gone from an unfamiliar concept of low fares to being recognized as the pioneer of a booming industry in ASEAN, with the launch of many more low-cost carriers in the years after that. In the 22 years of our rate planes taking to the skies, AirAsia has been named the world's best low-cost airline for 14 years in a row by Skytrax, flying to more than 130 destinations across Asia and Australia, proudly flying the flags of the region on a global stage. With close to 1 billion guests flown, we've given countless people the experience of their first flight, be it alone, with family and friends, and even the experience of visiting a new place every other month, attending festivals abroad, or simply traveling for work to expand their businesses and impacting economic growth. Our tagline, "Now Everyone Can Fly," is truly an embodiment of this, both in the literal sense of flying and also the figurative sense of daring to dream. The tagline is also a true representation of where the brand spirit of daring to dream is built from. Our commitment is not rooted purely in making ASEAN a smaller place, but it's also about bringing ASEAN to the world and the world to ASEAN, whilst giving the best value and experience one can ask for. With over 70% of our airline's destinations being across ASEAN, making us the most connected airline in the region, we offer flyers an opportunity to visit just about every corner from the known capitals right down to new unexplored gems. The connectivity does not stop there, as we look to introduce new hubs and carriers in the region, such as Cambodia, where we would be able to offer Cambodians even more connectivity, first in ASEAN and then to the rest of Asia and beyond. You can see that the focus really is on ASEAN, and we are essentially the ASEAN airline. We also want to be the brand that consumers think of when it comes to the region, not just for flying. With our ever-growing ecosystem such as our travel app that offers a more seamless travel experience in the region, and even our food brand Santan, bringing the flavors of ASEAN to the world. We are really all about leveling up the world's interest in ASEAN by exposing more of what the region has to offer, be it the culture, the activities, or the flavors. We may have started by making ASEAN a smaller place through the concept of better connectivity with flights, but our commitment to the region goes beyond connectivity in that sense. As I said, we want to bring ASEAN to the world, and this means creating access, visibility, and awareness for all else that ASEAN has to offer, providing ASEAN-grown hotels contextual reach to guests that fly with us by listing these businesses on our Travel Super app, connecting users of our app to tourist locations on ground with AirAsia Ride, and so much more. The aim is really to boost not just tourism, but also create a positive impact on the overall economy and community. Our app has also recently received an award for Asia's leading online travel agency at the prestigious World Travel Awards on its first nomination, reflecting its achievements in providing value and convenience to travelers towards being the region's leading one-stop travel super app, beating out well-established names such as Agoda, Trip.com, Make My Trip, and more. As a brand with travel at the core, we naturally focus on people, places, and passion, and within this, people is ultimately at the heart of it. This is where we also place importance in supporting the ASEAN community socially through our philanthropic arm, AirAsia Foundation. From creating jobs for the underprivileged to improving animal welfare, our grantees have all strived in their own ways to make a difference. Together with them, we aim to find sustainable solutions to social challenges through innovation, passion, and determination. In short, our commitment to ASEAN is really about saying ASEAN is an amazing place with so much that deserves to be discovered, explored, and shared, from people and talents to places and cultures. Our brand strength lies in the consistency of what we believe in, accessibility, value, and championing ASEAN. Underlining it all, once again, AirAsia is a brand with people at the heart of it all. Everything that we do places focus on people first, making travel accessible with great value while championing ASEAN and celebrating its diversity and cultures. Over the course of 22 years, we've introduced signature offerings such as free seats for our airline and been recognized as the world's best low-cost airline for 14 years running. All of that, coupled with being a consistent voice for the region and sticking to our strong identity, has helped build brand recognition and equity. The recipe for success is in the power of both the business and brand direction being strongly intertwined, because you end up speaking to the right audience in the same tune for the same purpose. AirAsia's penchant for doing things out of the ordinary and setting the benchmark for what others do has also played a huge part in making the brand strong. We've always been innovative, and this was never just from the sense of technology, but rather in the way we do things, and our unconventional approach always gave us the buzz and spotlight that put the brand out there. Also, understanding what consumers are into allowed us to engage beyond just what our product had to offer, such as brand association tactics that brought us into the world of football through Manchester United, a Premier League team in a sport that ASEAN loves. Formula One to put our brand amongst other big global players, highlighting that low cost does not mean low quality. And opportunities in music, like when we supported Taylor Swift's Red Tour across ASEAN, once again showing the strength of our airline's network, and many more in terms of spaces that were deemed to be lifestyle. Such initiatives allowed us to be seen and also elevated the brand where we did not necessarily come to mind immediately, and hence grew brand awareness, engaging with new audiences for us. The strength in our brand is also down to people. As I mentioned, people at the heart of it all. That's also a reference to people internally in the company. We call ourselves All-Stars. It's our company culture and the people that innovate, build, create, ideate, and fly with passion. These people are our greatest asset. We believe that branding starts from within, and our All-Stars are some of our greatest brand ambassadors. In my 16 years, the consistency and the can-do attitude across All-Stars inspired us to update our culture values recently. It includes values that embody the spirit of making things happen and being innovative, which all translate to what we do and how we do it. Back to my point on the brand and business being on the same page, the added bonus to this is the people in the company that share the same dream, working towards the same vision. As a brand, AirAsia has always been bold and different. So what we want to do is bring the brand further. Expanding our reach and audience type is where brand growth will be important for us. We started growing the idea that AirAsia is more than just an airline through the introduction of our travel app, offering ride-hailing services, food retail, and so on. But we're not stopping there. There's still opportunities in the travel space, but there's also other industries we could look at. I mean, we went into ride hailing. As long as there's a link that adds value to people's needs, then why not? And because the AirAsia brand stands for connecting people and transforming lives, the future of the brand lies in turning into a name that represents ASEAN in every sense of the word, from travel culture right down to popular culture. We partnered with Universal Music to create Red Records, a music label focused on giving ASEAN talent a platform with the right players to support them, and this is our way of putting a foot into entertainment, of which is very much in AirAsia's blood. This opened doors to even more to explore as we grow. This leads us to a space of exploring brand licensing, IP development, and merchandising as ways of expanding everything I've mentioned. What started out as just a red cap for Tony to wear during interviews, whereby the media would capture pictures for print, thus giving our brand more mileage at a time when we were not advertising much, has now become something of an icon for the brand. The red AirAsia cap is well known and symbolizes boldness and daring to dream. ABC will leverage that and turn what's typically novelty or souvenir items from an airline to something more sought after and loved from a merchandising standpoint. Everything we do will still focus on championing ASEAN. AirAsia Brand Co. sets out to carry the torch when it comes to building up interest in the region through our ecosystem offerings and beyond. There's really no limit to the potential of the AirAsia brand, so continue to watch this space as we continue to champion ASEAN more than ever before.
Hello, I'm Annie Brown. I'm the General Manager of UK Consulting at Brand Finance. Today, I'm going to be talking about brand guardianship and the importance of leadership for ASEAN brands. Every year, Brand Finance surveys 1,000 professional analysts and journalists around the world on their perceptions of various CEOs. We measure fame, overall reputation, and performance against a handful of image attributes. The results from this survey are analysed along with measures including employee sentiment towards their leaders and brand value growth during the CEO's tenure. This data facilitates our objective evaluation and ranking of CEOs in terms of their guardianship of their brands. In the 5 years of our study, we have observed notable links between chief executive reputation and the reputation of the company's brand. In addition, the most controversial and the most popular CEOs tend to be associated with corporate brands even after their resignation and replacement. Our ranking is therefore more than a short-term popularity contest. It is about measuring CEO perception to help companies evaluate their leaders' potential impact on corporate reputation on an ongoing and on a permanent basis. Our research found that on a global level, most analysts and journalists share that business strategy is the most influential factor in their appraisal of a business. The second most important factor is closely related, the quality of CEO and leadership. When focusing on respondents from the ASEAN region alone, we found that over half, 53%, of respondents feel CEO and leadership quality is the most influential factor in the overall impression and investment appraisal for organisations that they have. This demonstrates the monumental importance of leadership reputation, particularly in the ASEAN region. CEO perception impacts not only the overall brand reputation, but also seems to have a direct impact on investment decisions driving fundamental business growth. Just as well-managed brands strive for notoriety, it follows that a good CEO should be well known among internal and external stakeholders to have the most effective impact on external and internal company perceptions. And within the ASEAN region, the most famous chief executive in our study is Petronas leader Tengku Muhammad Taufik, followed closely by OCBC chief Helen Wong. In general, regional CEOs are less well known abroad than their industry counterparts are for example, from China and the USA. On average, an ASEAN CEO is 60% less well known outside of the ASEAN region than other global CEOs are outside of their respective home markets. This is indicative of a historic insular market focus and is something we expect to shift as the region becomes more globally competitive across a wide range of industries. But our research reinforces the adage that fame isn't everything. In fact, amongst chief executives, there are diminishing returns to fame. Instead, it's important to substantiate fame with an authentic profile built on commercial success, long-term brand building, and personal reputation management. To build organisational and personal brand, it's imperative to nurture relationships with a wide range of stakeholders. This is why top CEOs typically spend the majority of their time in meetings, both with internal and external stakeholders. Even pre-pandemic, it was estimated that CEOs spend 72% of their time in meetings by Harvard Business School. This is also why most chief executives are not hired from other industries, and instead are usually appointed from within the organisation. When that happens, they bring with them existing relationships and an understanding of their stakeholders' needs. We found that 70% of top global chief executives in our study were appointed from within. In the ASEAN region specifically, we found that all chief executives were appointed from within the organisation, except for DBS's Piyush Gupta, who was appointed in 2009 from his role as CEO for Southeast Asia, Australia and New Zealand at Citibank. So a role undoubtedly providing stakeholder exposure relevant to his work at DBS. Over the years, we have monitored the drivers of chief executive reputation. Consistently, one of the most important factors is being honest and being ethical and inspiring positive change. To inspire positive change, leaders need to embrace global challenges, such as the need to operate sustainably and the need to adapt to new technologies. One such regional leader recognised for this in our 2023 research was DBS chief Piyush Gupta. Our research suggested that Gupta's perceptions were particularly bolstered by his announcement of DBS Better World, a metaverse platform designed for collaborators and communities to blueprint solutions to technological, social, and sustainability challenges. For example, Better World will utilise gamified elements to highlight the global food waste challenge and communicate the efforts of DBS Foundation. His advocacy of Better World is just part of Gupta's efforts to digitalise the bank, and also his public communications on various business issues. Such communications have earned him the accolade of top voice on LinkedIn, as well as the top regional rank and 9th global rank in the Brand Finance Brand Guardianship Index 2023. Artificial intelligence and its ability to replace jobs has been a hot topic in the past 12 months. Chief executives are often assumed to be safe from direct replacement by artificial intelligence. But chief executives are undoubtedly at risk of replacement if they do not harness technology to their firm's advantage. Initial data this year suggests that the rate of CEO resignation is on the rise, reaching the previous 2019 record levels. In our upcoming research, we will be analysing this, as well as how perceived tech readiness of chief executives is playing a role in their reputation and in the reputation and perception of the companies they run. So please get in touch to find out more about how your chief executive is perceived and the impact it is having on your brand.
Okay, before I tell you about some of Centara Grand's success stories, let me just give you a bit of background about the company first. So Centara Hotels and Resorts is Thailand's leading hotel operator. We have 93 properties across 13 countries under 6 different brands. We have 50 operating hotels and another 43 under development. Centara Grand is our flagship brand among those 6 brands. We have 8 operating Centara Grands across Thailand, the Maldives and Japan, and another 8 under development. Centara Grand's our upper upscale brand, and it's the brand that drives the lion's share of the group's revenue. Thai family values sit at the heart of Centara Hotels and Resorts and are core to our Grand properties. We define them as caring, sharing, and creating a sense of belonging. These values permeate our product, services, and experience delivery as we strive to make our hotels the place to be for our guests and staff alike. So in terms of the brand offering, Centara Grand hotels are all distinctive properties at the heart of prime destinations. And whilst each resort style might be unique in its own right, the authentic values I mentioned before remain consistent, and each Centara Grand is a true destination of happenings, offering immersive experiences and service very much with a local touch. Okay, so let's talk now about some of the success stories of our brand. And it's certainly fair to say that all Centara Grands are very, very successful in their own right. But as I said before, they are also very distinct. So take Centara Grand and Bangkok's Convention Centre at Central World. This hotel has a status and is known as being a premier events venue and leader for global events and occasions. A MICE specialist, but also world famous for food and beverage, and it has an eclectic selection of renowned rooftop restaurants and bars. On the other hand, Centara Grand Mirage Beach Resort in Pattaya is Thailand's #1 family resort. Mirage signifies our themed family offering, and at this property it's a true entertainment destination with water park and much more for families. This hotel, I have to say, is probably the most well-known, celebrated and famous hotel in Thailand now, particularly amongst the family segment. Then in Hua Hin we have Centara Grand Beach Resort and Villas, which is a fantastic heritage building, actually celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, and was named in recent years by CNN as amongst the top heritage hotels in Asia. So again, a huge and fantastic selection of restaurants, bars and entertainment, but a very different style resort to the others I mentioned. And our latest Centara Grand to be added to the collection opened this year in July, Centara Grand Hotel Osaka. So our first hotel in Japan, and it opened to critical acclaim and has enjoyed much success already. As we know, Japan is a hugely popular destination for the Thai market, as well as many other source markets. And this is set to really put in place the expansion of our Centara Grand brand internationally. Successful concepts at the hotels include our award-winning spa Senvari. Of course, Thailand is very well known for its spa concepts and well-being and treatments. Our water park facilities, which we have at our family resorts, some of the ones I mentioned, but also our Centara Grands in Phuket and Krabi. And of course, as I mentioned before, our excellence in F&B with our world-renowned outlets, particularly those rooftop restaurants and bars. What's made us such a strong brand? I think that's a good question. Firstly, I want to say it's certainly an honour to be recognised as Thailand's strongest brand. For me, brand strength relates to product excellence, service quality, awareness, recognition and reach, and very importantly, authenticity of the brand, all of which, to my mind, we have in abundance. Of course, you get all of those things right. That's what drives financial performance too, which is one of the ultimate proof points of brand strength. I think this recognition demonstrates the genuine trust we've earned over the past 40 years in business. It's actually our 40th anniversary this year. We've always stayed true to our authentic core, which relates back to Thainess and family values. The reputation of our hotels stand out with high net promoter scores and guest satisfaction levels exceeding 90%. Coupled with that, we have very strong customer loyalty, high retention rates, and a loyalty member database of over 8 million members. I mean, that's sufficient reason enough to be recognised as a strong brand. I think another factor would certainly be strong and visionary leadership, because I think that really contributes to driving brand value as well. Our CEO actually recently received the Outstanding CEO Award 2023 from the Investment Analysts Association in Thailand. And I think that's testament to his leadership, his vision and credibility as an authentic leader that really gets the best out of his people. And of course, being part of Central Group, so we as Centara Hotels and Resorts are part of Central Group, the retail, service and real estate conglomerate. This certainly gives added strength and credibility to our brand, as well, of course, as providing great opportunity for growth and synergy. And last but by no means least, we are fully focused on meaningful hospitality and truly sustainable growth. Sustainability is at the core of everything that we do going forward. It's part of our fabric, part of our DNA. And we have various measures in place, but some of our key milestones upcoming. By 2025, we will have eliminated single-use plastic completely across our hotels. We will also that year have all of our properties certified by the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. Currently, we have over 12 properties already certified. By 2030, we would have had a 20% reduction in energy, waste, water, and greenhouse gases. And our ultimate aim by 2050 is to achieve net zero emissions. I think that's absolutely vital to the evolution of our brand. For us, for our social and environmental responsibility, but also in the eyes of our customers, our stakeholders, and our employees alike. I think what's particularly important is that we're always looking to progress, to move forward, to certainly not sit still. Whilst our brand values must always remain constant and consistent, we're always looking to evolve our products to cater to the changing needs of consumers. As an example, we're continuously investing in our products to keep them at the top of our game. You know, hotels and resorts need constant attention and love. And as a couple of examples, our flagship in Bangkok, our Centara Grand here, we have recently completed a full renovation of all the rooms, and we're currently completing now the refurbishment to several of our restaurants and public areas. Whilst also at the moment, our hero family property that I spoke about earlier in Pattaya, we're also phase by phase refurbishing the rooms and some of the public areas there as well, to really ensure the experience is at the level that our families and travellers need today. We're also looking to expand into new and existing markets. As we've said, we've only recently expanded into Japan, a really exciting development for us, which will really support the growth and recognition of our Centara Grand brand in that part of Asia and beyond. We're opening a new Centara Grand hotel in the Maldives in the first quarter of 2025. So that project is very much under development, and also opening in new markets which are currently in the pipeline and also under development, such as Laos, amongst others. Not just our expansion into new markets or investing in our product, we're also looking to always evolve our offerings to cater again to those relevant consumer trends. So we diversify our food and beverage concepts. We're creating some very, very exciting concepts now, actually. So watch this space for some new entries to our F&B scene. We're focused on enhancing our technologies, including the launch early next year of a loyalty-centric app, which will really enhance the booking and engagement experience for our customers. And we'll be strengthening our CRM platform by improving the synergy we have with Central Group to access their 19 million members, offering unique experiences to far greater audiences.
Hello, my name is Konrad Jagodziński and I'm the Place Branding Director at Brand Finance. I will be talking about the relationship between nation brands and corporate brands and how soft power comes into the mix. Soft power is a nation's ability to influence the preferences and behaviours of various actors in the international arena, states, corporations, communities, through attraction or persuasion rather than coercion. Brand Finance's Global Soft Power Index is the industry's most comprehensive research study on soft power and perceptions of nation brands in general, surveying opinions of 150,000 respondents in 100 markets. The fifth iteration of the index, which will be published in a few months' time in February 2024, will rank all 193 member states of the United Nations for the first time. The term soft power was popularized by Professor Joseph Nye of Harvard University in the 1980s. Brand Finance has consulted the development of the Global Soft Power Index with academics from around the world, including Professor Nye. Dr. Paul Temporal of the University of Oxford, who is known in ASEAN for having helped develop the Malaysia Truly Asia tourism brand strategy among his numerous other professional achievements, has supported us as the chief academic advisor to the index. The Global Soft Power Index quantifies an overall score of a nation's soft power thanks to evaluating both its reputation and influence. A wide range of nation brand attributes is measured in its own right, as well as to analyse their role in driving performance in both KPIs. The third KPI, familiarity, enables respondents to form their perceptions in the first place. In the Global Soft Power Index 2023, the United States wins the top spot in the ranking, followed by the United Kingdom and Germany. However, also Asian nations are making their mark. with Japan and China both in the top 10, thanks to their prowess in economy and diplomacy. Also, South Korea, in 15th place, has become particularly influential in technology, thanks to global electronics brands like Samsung, and entertainment, thanks to K-pop and award-winning cinema. India, in 28th spot, is taking an increasingly prominent role in the world, thanks to the fast growth of its population and economy, as well as the steady appeal of its culture, from yoga to Bollywood. In ASEAN specifically, Singapore is leading the way in soft power, being a major financial hub and a role model for good governance for many countries in the region. In the world, it ranks 21st. In Asia, it is behind only Japan, China, and South Korea, as well as ahead of much larger India. Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia all rank in the top 50 globally too. Having become more familiar to people around the world as tourist destinations, they are simultaneously investing in developing strong corporate brands that are increasing their soft power internationally. It is worth noting that all 4 of these ASEAN countries are punching above their weight in terms of perceptions of corporate brands. All rank higher on the particular attribute within the index measuring perceptions of products and brands than in terms of overall soft power. In this attribute, also Vietnam makes the global top 50, which is explained by its exponential economic growth in recent years. And it is that relationship between nation brands and corporate brands that I want to focus on today. Perceptions of the economic standing of a country and brands of products and services originating there play a key role in forming its soft power. Our statistical drivers analysis conducted on the Global Soft Power Index data to understand which particular nation brand attributes drive reputation and influence has identified perceptions of business and trade as the most important in growing soft power. The attributes strong and stable economy and easy to do business in and with are among the top 5 drivers of both reputation and influence. Products and brands the world loves is not far behind in that ranking. Moreover, earlier this year we set about conducting an analysis that would allow us to better understand how the dynamics of soft power are intertwined with the performance and economic gains of nation brands. We looked at 2 of our annual rankings, the Global Soft Power Index, which measures perceptions, and the Brand Finance Nation Brands ranking, which tracks and assesses the value and strength of nation brands. Our analysis tells us that despite the existence of many and various factors that affect the performance of nation brands, perceptions and soft power that comes with them correlate very strongly with performance, suggesting that improving perceptions and strengthening soft power can boost performance. There are 5 key areas of financial impact that is measured within the nation brands ranking: economy, investment, trade, talent, and tourism. In our analysis, the Global Soft Power Index score demonstrated a strong statistical relationship with the nation brand performance score across these 5 areas combined. We then narrowed down the analysis from the relationship between the overall Global Soft Power Index and nation brand performance scores to assess the relationship between perceptions captured in a particular Global Soft Power Index pillar focusing on business and trade, and economic performance measures in the nation brand study, namely gross domestic product per capita and GDP growth. The results showed a strong correlation again, suggesting that improving perceptions towards a nation's business and trade attributes can support stronger macroeconomic performance. This supports the gut feeling that most marketers have that strong corporate brands mean strong nation brands, and strong nation brands mean strong economies. In that way, creating a virtuous circle that reinforces the corporations in the country. The findings of the new iteration of the Global Soft Power Index will be inaugurated at the Global Soft Power Summit on the 28th and 29th of February 2024 in London and streamed live online. This time, we will also unveil the findings of additional new research identifying the best nations in investment, trade, talent, and tourism attraction. The data will tell us even more about the relationship between corporate and nation brands. The previous iteration of the Global Soft Power Index can be accessed on Brand Finance's website, brandfinance.com/softpower. Attendance at the Global Soft Power Summit is free, and all delegates can register to join in person or online on Brand Finance's website. You can just follow the QR code. Thanks, and see you all at the Global Soft Power Summit 2024.
Greetings from Singapore. In this video, I'm going to look at the nexus, the connections between corporate brands and country brands. Now, corporate brands are what everyone is quite familiar with. We all have some relationship with many corporate brands, whether consciously or subconsciously, through the familiarity and the affinity that we have with these brands. Now, when it comes to country brands, this is much less the case. Now, the first key point is that countries are also brands. Country brands compete with their rival country brands for tourism, trade and investment, immigration, and also to attract people to come and study and work in their countries. Now, corporate brands do two things. One is they use their country brands, but they can also influence them. In other words, they can take from the country brand to benefit their own corporate brand building. But at the same time, these corporate brands can also give to the country brand. They can add value, they can contribute towards the building of that country brand. Now, in my book, Brand Singapore, a study of Singapore's country brand, first published in 2011, and now in its third edition, published 2021. On the corporate brands of Singapore, I identified the top, in my opinion, the top three brands: Tiger Beer, Raffles Hotel, and Singapore Airlines. In the book, I also lamented the loss of two of those three brands. Tiger Beer, launched in 1932 in Malaya, was sold in 2012. Raffles Hotel, which hails from 1887, was sold in 2005. In other words, Singapore no longer has direct corporate control over these two brands. Perhaps that not all is lost, because as recently as in September 2023, Raffles Hotel was ranked 17th in a list of the top 50 best hotels of the world. But the crucial point here is that such top corporate brands are like family jewels, not to be sold lightly. Now, those are, in my opinion, the top three, but there are many, many more Singapore brands. At home, we have the Marina Bay Sands, which is now practically identified as the symbol of Singapore. When it was first opened, there was some discussion about whether we should have a hotel that has a casino being the national emblem, but that hasn't stopped. It doesn't seem to have hurt Singapore's country brand in any appreciable way since then. And abroad, there are brands like Banyan Tree in the luxury resort space of special experiences. And these are catering at the highest levels of Maslow's hierarchy. Now, Singapore's current country brand for tourism was launched in 2008 with the tagline, "Passion Made Possible." The key idea being that anyone in this industry or creativity, a sector, can come to Singapore or be in Singapore, and with such a conducive environment, their passions would thrive and flourish. Since then, there has been what is called a Made with Passion campaign to promote lifestyle brands originating from Singapore. There's a wide range of these brands, ranging from the barbecued meat by Bee Cheng Hiang to Batik apparel by Baju by Onyata. Now, in this ASEAN 300 report, the spotlight is placed on many more Singapore brands, with the added dimension of a quantitative evaluation. Now, fundamentally, a country brand is all about attributes. And it's usually very useful to divide these attributes into those that belong in the category of hard power and those in under soft power. Now, in Singapore, the hard power attributes would include, right at the top, things like Singapore being seen as being efficient, clean, and rules based. Under soft power, it will be seen as open, secure, multicultural. Now, when it comes to hard power, in this ASEAN 300 report, Fair Price, a Singapore supermarket chain that has now moved into other business areas as well, was named as the most valuable retail brand. Now, Fair Price certainly can, and I'm sure it will, leverage hard power aspects to further its growth in the ASEAN region in Southeast Asia. But in the longer term, for it to truly go global, it will certainly need to tap much more on soft power. Now, at the very start of this video, I talked about how corporate brands can take from, but also give to their country brands. Now, applying the insight that applying hard power can achieve tremendous results in the short term, but to sustain success for the longer term, only soft power will do. Let's take a closer look at soft power and a closer look at Singapore Airlines, if you recall, one of the top 3 brands I singled out. Now, Singapore Airlines is probably Singapore's best known corporate brand internationally. So it's no surprise that in this ASEAN 300 report, it is named the most valuable airline brand. Now, on SIA's soft power, let's take a close look at how it suddenly takes from Singapore's country brand of all the aspects that we talked about earlier, being efficient, reliable, secure, delivering the best experiences in life. But Singapore Airlines can also give just as much to the country brand. Now, finally, to sum up, I've always advocated that corporate brands, in fact, any business person, should look more closely at how their corporate branding can align more to the country brand. Thank you.
BDO Unibank is the largest bank in the Philippines in terms of assets, loans, deposits, and trust in management. It has over 1,600 branches and offices nationwide in the Philippines, and we have a branch in Singapore and in Hong Kong. We also have 16 international offices in Asia, Europe, in the Middle East, and North America. BDO is a conglomerate of 27 companies led by the Unibank. We have 26 subsidiaries, which also includes 2 other banks. There's BDO Private Bank, which deals with wealth management, and BDO Network Bank, which targets micro, small, and medium enterprises. BDO Foundation is the corporate social responsibility arm of the BDO Group. It has 2 major pillars. The first is on financial inclusion, supporting the Philippine Central Bank's focus to address the needs of the underbanked and the underserved in remote areas of the country. The second is on disaster response, relief, and rehabilitation. And in this sense, the bank clearly leverages its strength in terms of addressing the aftermath of disaster in the community. And the targets for BDO Foundation are usually disaster-prone areas and communities around the country as a result of the country's exposure to climate change and to global warming. BDO's overall business philosophy tagline is, "We find ways." This means we find the right solutions for our customers. And this also means that we anticipate our customers' needs, particularly unique needs of every individual, community, and company that trusts BDO with their investments, with their money, and with their future. The way BDO Unibank brings "We Find Ways" to life is to have pioneering activities in the banking industry. BDO was the first to extend its banking hours, the first to also build bank branches in large malls. And this provides the opportunity for our customers to avail of financial services on Saturdays and Sundays, so weekends when they go to the mall with their families, and following the mall's longer hours. It is also the first bank to include biometrics in its automated teller machines to ensure the safety and security of our clients' accounts. BDO's overall business strategy is to build a strong business franchise to achieve diversity and sustainability in earnings over the long term. When it comes to sustainability, BDO's sustainability philosophy is to achieve strategic resilience by embedding sustainability in the way we do business. We seek to incorporate sustainability principles in everything that we do, whether when making decisions, when assessing relationships, and when creating products for our customers. BDO Unibank is a leader in sustainability and sustainable finance. We recognize that the financial sector has the responsibility to finance the transition towards a low-carbon economy that is environmentally responsible and socially inclusive. For example, in our own operations, we are managing our carbon footprint with over 400 buildings and facilities and over 1,600 branches. We are ensuring that we are responsible for our environmental and social impact. We are also practicing good governance, and this is through the leadership of our board of directors and our senior leadership. We have a sustainable finance framework that incorporates ESG in terms of risk management in lending, investments, and underwriting. Since 2010, BDO has financed 58 large-scale renewable energy projects. 55 of these are in the Philippines, and 2 in India, and 1 in Taiwan. Together, the 58 projects have a total installed capacity of 2,252 megawatts. And in the Philippines, with the 55 projects, this equates to almost 25% of the country's total renewable energy capacity at the moment. These projects are geothermal, wind, solar, hydro, and biomass. In 2022, we released our Energy Transition Finance Statement. And in that statement, we committed to support the 2015 Paris Agreement, as well as the Philippines' nationally determined contribution to the agreement, which commits to 75% reduction and avoidance of greenhouse gas emissions in the country. In terms of our social impact, BDO has incorporated as its focus area human rights in our environmental and social risk management system. We have also partnered with the Philippine Commission on Human Rights in terms of helping us craft our current human rights policy, helping us train our employees on the responsibilities of business and human rights in the workplace, and helping us develop our own human rights impact tool assessment. In terms of our code of conduct, we promote the employees' rights and equal opportunities for training and development, for career advancement, for freedom from harassment and discrimination. And we carry this within our relationships with our customers and our supply chain. We do not support any operation that are into child labor or forced labor and modern slavery. And we support operations that uphold community rights and the rights of indigenous peoples.
The interplay between finance and sustainability has never been more significant. It has now become a critical factor in determining a company's value and success. At the World Economic Forum in Davos this year, Brand Finance introduced the Sustainability Perceptions Index. The index sheds light on a compelling truth. Substantial financial gains, often amounting to billions, await brands that proactively improve their environmental, social, and governance (ESG) practices, while effectively communicating these efforts. Bolstering these findings is the Sustainability Gap Index, which draws upon comprehensive ESG data from CSR Hub to quantify the disparity between perceptions and reality. This study opens a promising avenue for brands. When performance surpasses perception, an opportunity arises to swiftly add value by communicating a genuine commitment to sustainability more effectively. Conversely, when perception outweighs performance, brands expose themselves to substantial risk, facing potential public backlash, accusations of greenwashing, and a subsequent negative correction to their brand value. By closing this sustainability gap, brands not only shield their value, but also catalyse a more sustainable future. It's imperative to acknowledge that sustainability perceptions vary across regions and cultures, even within similar industries. A notable example emerges in the ASEAN region, where Singapore's Changi Airport is the standout brand in sustainability perceptions across all sectors, despite its explicit association with the aviation industry and its high carbon emissions. The airport's naturalistically planted jewel complex likely plays a pivotal role in enhancing its sustainability reputation among stakeholders, driving that high score. Turning our attention to sustainability perceptions value, Petronas emerges as the front-runner in the ASEAN region. Though not a direct measure of Petronas's actual sustainability performance, this value underscores a key insight. $1.1 billion of the brand's value is contingent on its perceived commitment to sustainability. Petronas must therefore sustain authentic communication around its commitment to the energy transition, or risk jeopardizing this significant chunk of value. When looking at the Sustainability Gap Index, banking brand CIMB acts as an example of a brand where sustainability performance outstrips perceptions. By not sufficiently communicating the breadth of its sustainability initiatives, CIMB is leaving $33 million of value on the table. Where genuine commitment is being made, there is a shareholder imperative to make the most of this via effective communication. In contrast, the most valuable brand in Vietnam, Viettel, could be at risk. In 2021, Viettel underwent a rebranding process, embodying the vision of caring innovators and the mission of pioneering to create a digital society. This image has clearly carried across into positive sustainability perceptions among stakeholders. However, Viettel's negative gap value, $481 million, indicates that the brand has considerable work to do in aligning its sustainability performance with its perception, potentially putting significant brand value at risk. In conclusion, a brand's perceived sustainability and the gap between this and its actual sustainability performance is a key determinant of that brand's standing and longevity. As stakeholders become increasingly discerning and the imperative for sustainable practices grows, brands that bridge this gap stand not only to safeguard their value, but also to gain a competitive advantage over peers and shape the agenda to their advantage.
And with that, we've come to the end of our webinar. But before signing off, there are just a couple of points we'd like for you to take note of. Please reach out to us at j.chang@brandfinance.com should you have any questions about the webinar. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to scan the QR code and get your free preview copy of our first ever report on ASEAN's top brands. The entire webinar will also be available for viewing on Brand Finance's YouTube page. Thank you for being with us, everyone. Stay safe and have a pleasant week ahead.